Hello everyone, this is Ahmed Dan of ahmeddan.com. Today I'll have another episode of Easy Cooking video, and I'll talk about how to cook Super 7 Food Immune Booster in 20 minutes. So I have all the ingredients right here, and this shouldn't take long. So I'm looking at about 20 to 22 minutes, and I'm going to use a frying pan, which is going to be like this, and this is non-stick. So you can do it about 20 minutes if you use frying pan, but if you use one of the pots like this, then it's going to take a longer, and the vegetables kind of get mushy in it. So it's easier to cook when you're using a frying pan. So let's go over the ingredients today. So we have 7 superfood, and these are one of the best superfoods you can buy. They're immune booster. They're full of antioxidants, minerals, vitamins. So basically, if you're eating these every day or on a regular basis, your immune system is going to improve. You're going to be healthier. You're going to be feeling much better. So basically, it's hard to beat this vegetable dish, and that's why I'm going to show you how to cook this very easily. It doesn't take a lot of effort. So only effort is that you have to go to the supermarket and buy these ingredients, and some of them actually I'm using they're frozen. They're not even fresh, but the reason I use frozen, for example, the kale, which is right here, and then the broccoli, and I use these frozen because they are easy to cook. And I tried buying kale fresh, but it's very hard to wash, and sometimes even I wash like 5-10 times, I still get some soil in it, because kale is one of the foods that is full of soil. So it's easy to have frozen, and you cannot beat machine wash. So let's go over our ingredients one by one, and I'm going to start off with the chard. So there are 2 types of chard you can buy. One is green chard and one is red chard. So this is the green chard, and you can see the nice greeny leafy texture and kind of like a mixed red color. And then we have here asparagus, and I don't have to tell more about asparagus, one of the best superfoods you can buy out there. And then here we have rapini. Rapini is slightly bitter, and it's very green, and it's very fast cooking, so you don't have to actually cook a lot. And if for some people they might taste the bitterness, but I've been using or eating rapini for long, so I don't feel bitter anymore. So this is one of the foods or vegetables I eat every day. And then we have tomatoes, and I don't have to introduce tomatoes more. You all know what is tomato and the benefits. And then here we have the kale, and usually I buy kale frozen. The reason I mentioned you before that it's much cleaner if it's frozen, and you can see it's like deep or dark green with very nice color, deep color and texture. And then we have here broccoli. This is also frozen, but you can use fresh too. And then we have here mushroom, and this is organic mushroom, because mushroom attracts lots of soil and things from ground, so it's better to have organic. Otherwise, if you are buying regular, then just make sure that you are washing very good. Then we have our main one of the main ingredients of not just vegetables but any cooking, onion and garlic. So you can see that I cut onion 2 different ways. So for example, this one is kind of almost a whole onion, but it's cut. You can see that if I just press it, it's going to be open. And then here I already removed it, and then it's already cut in pieces. But this is going to give you it's going to take a little bit longer in the frying pan to remove from its size. And then we have garlic. The reason I cut garlic this way, because I don't want garlic to melt in the vegetables. I want them to kind of stay whole, so that's why I cut this way. So this is 1 medium-sized garlic, and this is 1 medium-sized onion. And then here we have about 1 teaspoon of turmeric, or some call it turmeric. And then we have little salt, maybe 1 teaspoon. I usually try to go very low on salt. And then we have a little bit of red pepper, not too much, but if you don't like spicy or red pepper, you can just skip that. And then these ingredients actually it's just kind of common sense. You can change them, or you can increase one, decrease another. So basically what I cook, what I have here, this is good enough to fill up this frying pan right here. and it's not going to be over the size or too small. So this is a perfect quantity to cook one time. And then we have oil, and I always use extra virgin olive oil, but I didn't show you how much oil I'm putting in because it's not I'm just going to be putting in about 1 tablespoon or little or less. And so these are our main ingredients. So let me just count if we have 7 superfoods, because I don't want to miss anything. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can see that we have 7 superfood. And let's and the name of the ingredients again: green chard, asparagus, rapini, tomatoes, kale, broccoli, mushroom. And then here we have onions, 1 medium sized onion, not too big, 1 garlic, and turmeric, and a little bit salt, and a little bit red pepper, and I'm going to be putting in 1 spoon of oil. So that's the preparation and the ingredients. Now let's start with the frying pan, and then I'm going to be putting them one by one. Just before I start doing that, you have to be mindful about which one you're putting first and which one you are putting later, because some of the items here, they take longer to cook, some of them they take shorter to cook. So for example, here we have mushroom, which is going to take the longest, so I'm going to put this first. And then here broccoli is very little time it takes to cook, so I'm going to be putting it at the end. And then tomato, I want them to be intact or whole, so I'm going to be putting them at the end. So I'm going to start with mushroom, and then the next ingredient takes a little bit long to cook, is going to be the kale, and then I'm going to be putting in the rapini, and then chard, and then I'm going to be putting in asparagus, and then tomato, and then broccoli is going to be at the very end. So basically, once I put in broccoli, you can say that the cooking is almost over, because I'm just going to be putting in 1 minute before, or a couple of minutes before I finish the cooking. So that way broccoli is going to stay still very green and very whole. You cannot even tell that it's been cooked. So that's the basics of the beginning. So let's start, turn on the stove, and then we're going to start putting our ingredients one by one. So I have turned on the stove at medium heat, which is right here, and it's a little bit hot right now. So I'm going to start with oil. So I'm going to just very quickly put some oil. Usually I don't use any measurement to put in oil, so I just have I just know how much I need to put. So I'm going to put in some oil, and my guess would be that this is a tablespoon or lesser than a tablespoon. And then you can see that the oil is kind of all over right now. So I'm just spreading it out, and you can see that this is hot. I can feel the heat. So I'm going to be starting in the first thing, the onion, garlic, and the spices. So I'm going to be just pour the whole thing into here, and you're going to start getting some noise, and I might have to turn on the exhaust fan. It all depends. So let's start with that. Okay, so this is empty. I'm going to be just putting it in here, and I can see the smoke is coming up. So I'm just going to have to turn on the vent fan a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit of noise. Sorry about that, but there's no other way. So I'm going to just put this little bit right here, and we're going to see how it works right now. So I can do this about a couple of minutes or 3 minutes, just to make the onions and garlic, everything just slightly cooked. And then I'm going to be starting with the mushroom. So it looks a little bit dry, but once I put in mushroom, it should be okay. But if in case I feel it too dry, I might need to add some water. But I'm not hoping or thinking that I may need to put in some water. So I started, it just passed about 1 minute, so I'm not gonna wait anymore. Let me just throw in some mushroom right now. So you can see that noise is changing a little bit. So what happens when I'm going to be putting in kale or rapini, they have water in it, and even the chard, so that should be good enough for the water. So right now I'm just going to leave it here like this. And actually I can just use one of the cover for my pot just to keep them together, so the heat gets evenly spread and it makes faster. So I can do that. It's not going to cover the whole thing, but that's the way I want. I can just put everything inside here, and then we'll just wait a little bit and let it run. So I'm looking at about, let's say about a couple of minutes, or let's say 3 minutes. And in between, you have to just move them a little bit so it doesn't get burnt. You have to just keep an eye. And still the heat is at medium, so I haven't changed the heat anything, and I'll try to keep it that way. I don't like to put too high or too low, because that's gonna make the cooking faster or slower. But when it's at medium, then it's tasting perfectly the way I want, and everything remains not too cooked or not too undercooked. So you can see that it's coming very well, and I can get the spices of turmeric. So one thing about spices is that you can usually turmeric can go with anything, and it's a very healthy another superfood that has shown lots of health benefits. So I try to turmeric in everything. But if you would like to add some more spices, you can do so, but usually I don't. When I cook vegetable, turmeric is the only thing I put in, and slightly red pepper, and actually at the end I might add some black pepper, which I haven't mentioned before, but those are optional. You don't really have to, but you can if you'd like. Okay, so at this point you can see that there's water coming out a little bit and it's getting heated. So I'm just going to be putting in the kale, because kale takes a little longer to cook. So okay, so most of the kale are in here now, and it's cooking very nicely. So I'm just going to cover that again a little bit, but it's not going to be too long. And then within another couple of minutes I'm going to be putting in the chard, rapini and asparagus, and then tomatoes, and the broccoli is going to be at the very end. So we passed about, I would say, 5-7 minutes. So I'm just going to wait here another couple of minutes. And what I mentioned before, you can see that water is coming in right now. I didn't add any water or anything, although in the beginning it looked dry, but now you can see that it's getting lots of water, and even you can see some water here. So I'm going to just cover this again, and let's wait another couple of minutes. So the heat is still at medium, and it's cooking nicely. So I'm going to be starting putting in everything from here. So you have chard, rapini and asparagus. So I will start with chard and then I'll move on to rapini and asparagus. So I'm going to be just putting like this. And then we have some chard here. Okay, so all those are done. I'll just wait a little bit for the asparagus to throw in, and in the meanwhile let's just mix them together. And the reason I kept one piece of chard intact, I just wanted to show you how it looks. Some people may not know chard, but definitely you can use the replacement for that. And I'm going to just and I'm going to cover this again. And then I would wait about another couple of minutes. So I'm going to just take a look here. Okay, so you can see that it's cooking very nicely. So right now it looks like I'm okay to go ahead with the mushroom. I'm sorry, with the asparagus. So I'm just going to put it on top this way, so that way it doesn't get too melted. So I'm just going to cover it, and now let's wait another couple of minutes, and after that I'll start with tomatoes. So we should pass another couple of minutes or close to 2 minutes. So now I'm just going to be adding in the tomatoes, but I'll just put them kind of right on top, and I don't want them too melted. And I'll just move this little bit on the bottom so it doesn't get burnt evenly. Just I'll spread them out a little bit, and tomatoes are here now. And so I would say I passed about 17 minutes right now or so. It could be 1 or 2 minutes plus minus, but in that range. So right now I'm just going to cover it up for another couple of minutes, and then the only ingredients we are left with is the broccoli. And after let's say 2 minutes, I'm going to throw in the broccolis. But once I put in the broccolis, I'm going to turn off the stove, because that's the end of cooking, and that should be exactly at 20 minutes, or it could be in 21, 22 minutes. And then the heat from the stove or the heat from the pot should be good enough to do the rest of the cooking. So you're looking at kind of another 5 minutes or 7 minutes from the frying pan heat, because it's very hot right now. So once I throw in the broccoli, I'll just turn it off, and that should be it. So you're looking at the whole process about 20 minutes, because after I throw in the broccoli, you can just leave. You don't have to keep an eye on it. So that's going to be the end of cooking, and the heat which is retaining inside the frying pan should do the rest of the job. Now you can see that the asparagus is kind of very keeping its very nice color. It's not melted, or it's not too mushy, so it still feels strong or hard, but it's getting cooked. And then the broccoli is doing a good job too. I'm sorry, the tomatoes is doing a good job. It's going to keep intact, but I don't want it to melt, because if you put in broccoli too early, it's going to be all melted, and you're not going to even see any broccoli if you put it too first. So it's one of those items you have to put it at the end. And let's wait another minute, then I'm gonna start putting in the broccoli. So we have come almost to the end. I'm going to just throw in the broccoli right now, and after that, that's going to be the end of the cooking. So let's just put in the broccoli, and I'm going to just touch a little bit on the bottom, just to make sure that nothing fun is going on. So asparagus looks very tender and nice, and broccoli, they're just blending in. So at this point, my heat is still medium, so I'm just going to cover this again. And again, this is not going to cover the whole thing, but that's the way I want. I just want to keep an eye. So I covered this, and then right now I'm going to turn off the stove, so you can see that it's been off, and right now the heat in here is going to do the rest of the job. So you're looking at another 5 minutes, but we should be at 20 minutes since I started the first ingredient. So that's why you can cook this amazing vegetables full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and all sort of good stuff you can possibly imagine. Super 7, the best Super 7 food or superfoods you can possibly get, or one of the best 7 foods out there. So that's the end of the cooking. So I'm just going to show you the whole thing once it cool down a little bit. So I'm going to show you the final product. So but the stove is off now, and I'll just wait another few minutes before I put in everything on a plate and show you how it looks like. Hi guys, this is the finished product. So you can see that the broccoli is very intact. It doesn't even look like it's been cooked, but it has been cooked, and it's kind of whole and very green and leafy, and that's the way I wanted. And then we have here rapini. So when you cook rapini, it's kind of gets mushy, and you can keep it green, but then it's still going to be difficult to chew. So that's why rapini looks a little bit darker. And then we have the asparagus right here, and you can see that this is whole, intact, and very green. And then we have tomatoes right here, and then you can see the onion, the garlics are right here. They didn't get melted, but onions got melted, which was supposed to be. And then I have found some kale right here. So when you cook kale, because it was frozen, it was cut into small pieces, it kind of mixed with everything else, so it's hard to separate them, but I was able to do a little bit here. And then you can see that this is mushroom, so it came out very nicely cooked and whole. And then we have here chard, and you can tell that this is chard by its red texture, and you can see that this looks very good as well. So this is our, again, the full dish, and the 7 superfood full of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and we cooked it in about 20 minutes. So thank you for watching this video. I do have a few more cooking videos which is going to be under the easy cooking playlist. So if you like what you see, definitely you can check out the other videos, and there will be more videos coming up. So I'll see you shortly. Thank you.